What's going on, guys? This is Munch, and I'm bringing you some Counter-Strike Global Offensive gameplay here. This is a demolition match. For those of you who don't know what demolition is, it's sort of a poor man's mix of classic and gun game. You get you progress up a weapon tier based on if you get a kill in the previous round, and you start with the AK, and there's like pistols in the middle, so it's not really like getting better weapons as you go, but yeah, and if you get more than one kill in a round, you get grenades, which is pretty sweet. And yes, so that's this game type. If you don't know it, it's not nearly as good in my opinion as competitive, or I mean, sorry, classic competitive. That is, because classic casual is not very fun at all. I don't think, because you have so much money, you end up just buying an op every round or whatever. But it is. I find it to be a good way to sort of train yourself to learn, you know, if you're not a big Counter-Strike player, or if you play mostly gun games, to sort of learn the objective-based gameplay, and to train yourself to use different weapons. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, you're going to end up having some rounds where you do have just a pistol or whatever. So I find it to be a good way to get used to the gameplay, and yeah. I'm not going to talk too much about the gameplay though, other than to say that, and to say that I did fairly decent, but I'm not that great at this game, so please don't hate. Okay, so what I did want to talk about in this gameplay was to do sort of a little reflection of where I've been on YouTube and where YouTube has taken me as a content producer, as a video maker, as a live streamer, and as a video game player, because I feel that I am so different now, and my experience with games and life is just different because of YouTube. So I just wanted to sort of walk through that and be like, yo, what happened, dog? But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a really crazy ride, and as I go through, I'm gonna sort of lay out my YouTube story for those of you who may not know all the sort of details, because you know, I don't blame you for not keeping up with all the details of my life. It's fairly boring in most respects, but there you have it. Or those of you who might be kind of new and maybe don't know, you know, how I met Utoric or how I met Kevin, because those are pretty frequently asked questions. So I thought I would just address them again as I go through this, so you don't have to watch any other videos to have this make sense to you, and so you can kind of get where I'm coming from. But yeah, when I started YouTube, I don't really know what I was hoping to get out of it, but I began because I had a couple good gameplays on Black Ops on PS3, and I had watched a couple of videos of Tabes, and I thought, I was like, hey, I'm not as good as that, but I get decent gameplays, and then I watched some Hutch videos, and I was like, oh, he talks about interesting things and says interesting things. I can do that and have mediocre gameplay and halfway decent gameplays to put under it. So that's sort of what got me into it. And then also with Minecraft, and I had watched some CNanners, and that's basically where I came from with my YouTube experience and why I began. But I don't really know that I had any concrete plan for what I wanted to get from making videos. I just knew that I loved video games, and I wanted to eventually go into making video games, which I'm still working on. But yeah, I just thought, hey, it'll be a good way to connect to the community. I already know how to edit videos. Let's see where this goes. It was sort of a case of I could do that. And a few months in, I got into the March Madness competition put on by Woody's Gamertag and Ukrainian Limbs. This was March of 2011, so like almost a year and a half ago. And I just experienced a lot of success from that almost overnight. Well, in fact, it was overnight. I went from like 150 to 5,000 subs pretty much overnight. When I woke up, it was a different ball game. And that was really cool. And that was, I think, the first time. No, that was the second time I felt really, really connected to the community and what was going on, and felt like I could actually be successful making YouTube videos. The first time I felt really connected to the community was I put a video up on the Ken Gamers channel put on by Ken Burton, and I got a message from this random British guy who was like, hey, I've been doing YouTube videos for a while too, and I just wanted to say I liked your video and what's up and what's your strategy. And that random British guy was Utoric, and like a month after that, or maybe a couple weeks after that, I had started with my Minecraft server. I had made a server, and I was just like, hey Utoric, you wanna join me on this server, and we can play some games and stuff. It'll be fun. And he did, and that's how I got to know Utoric. And then like a month after that, Kevin tweeted out that he wanted to find a Minecraft server, and I was like, hey, I have one. And he sort of randomly chose to come on ours, and Utoric and I had a big fanboy moment, and that's sort of where all that nonsense began. And that's how I met Andrew and Crowley, was through Kevin. And yeah, and that is my YouTube career, I guess, has really changed the way that I play games, because like I mentioned when I started, I was doing Call of Duty gameplays and Minecraft. And the thing is, if I hadn't gotten into the YouTube career, the YouTube area, I probably would have quit playing Minecraft a long time before I stopped making Minecraft videos, and I probably would have still been playing like Call of Duty Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3 just casually, because I didn't have like a decent gaming computer. I didn't have something that could run Battlefield 3. I didn't have any interest in getting back into PC gaming, even though that's sort of where I started. Because when I was a kid, I basically started with single-player games. I was an only child, and games was just sort of like my recreational activity. I played a lot of SNES, like Super Mario World, and then N64, you know, Zelda and Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong Country, etc. But it wasn't until like middle school and high school I started getting into Super Smash Bros. And GoldenEye. And then when Halo came out, that was really like the multiplayer experience. But still, it wasn't like a huge part of my life. But I had an okay computer, and I got into Call of Duty 2 when it came out on PC. And that's sort of where I got into the online experience. In fact, I didn't go on to play online console games until I was halfway through college, because I just didn't have an online console. I had a PS2, but I never played it online because I just didn't have the setup to do it. But when I got the PS3, that was when I kind of got into playing online. So yeah, I really kind of came into playing games online around, I mean, maybe a year or 2 years before I got into playing games on YouTube. So when I came into YouTube, I mean, I never expected that I would ever get into Counter-Strike. I thought, no, that game's too niche. I wouldn't like that game. Or like TF2, the first time I played it, I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't understand it. But just the community of people that has been on YouTube, the people I play with, Kevin, Andrew, Crowley, Utoric, everybody, has just really changed the way that I think about playing games, and I enjoy Team Fortress 2 immensely now. Mostly because of the hats, though. Let's be real. It's all about the hats. Got to get my hats on. But yeah, it just has really changed sort of the kind of games that I play. Counter-Strike was one of those things where if I had just tried to play it on my own, I really wouldn't have enjoyed myself. I would have put it down like as soon as I picked it up. But because I had, you know, people to play it with and people to sort of teach me, walk me through it, say, oh no, with the AK you wanna aim for headshots and just, you know, burst fire, you know, 1 shot, 2 shots at a time, and you'll be a lot more successful, and sort of coach me through that mentality. I never would have gotten into Counter-Strike. And I think that's something that's really interesting about the way that YouTube and live streaming has changed games. I mean, you always had online or not always, but we've had online interaction on consoles and stuff for a while. But, you know, if you don't know anybody and you just go into a pub match, the chat is generally, I think you might find, disrespectful. and kind of difficult to find people in to play games and stuff. And I think there was a much higher barrier to entry for niche games like Counter-Strike, and Battlefield is sort of a big one too. I mean, if you don't have a squad that's really on your team with you, it can be very, very difficult. So yeah, I think YouTube, for me at least as a video producer, has really changed the way I play games and think about games, because I care a lot more about that multiplayer experience, because I can play with these people, you know, all the time, and they're all on California schedules anyway, so, you know, they're up in the middle of the night for them, which is perfect time for me to play. So that helps. But it's been such an interesting ride, and especially, you know, when we do live streams and we get you guys on, or even if I just tweet out like, hey, you know, join on me in Battlefield, or join on me in TF2, or join on me and let's play some Counter-Strike. It's a really interesting community, and most of the time you get a couple people that come on and just absolutely wreck you, or wreck me is what I'm trying to say. You know, you guys are really pro at some of these games, and you come on and just do really, really well, and I'm not that great at a lot of these things like Counter-Strike. I just end up getting opped in the face the entire time during live streams, especially because I'm calling out which direction I'm gonna go, and you guys listen. Fucking assholes. But yeah, it's just to be able to get on there and have this sort of group of friends or acquaintances, or I don't know what you want to call it, social media groupies? I don't know. No, that's not that accurate. I don't really know what the term is for it. It's totally new, and I think it's really changed the way that games are played, and that the games are made too. I mean, if you look at the role of YouTube and Twitter and everything in Minecraft, it's just unbelievable. Minecraft would not be that popular unless people made crazy shit and posted videos of it on YouTube. It just wouldn't have happened, and that's sort of an insane thing to think about, that an immense amount of popularity comes from this sort of community, and this especially if you think about the fact that YouTube is just this sort of, or at least in its infancy, it sort of ignored all copyright restrictions. You know, the whole idea of machinima is taking this copyrighted game and turning it into a different medium, to take, you know, the gameplay and put voices behind it and turn it into a story or commentary or whatever. And the fact that game makers, especially the big ones, I'm sort of surprised that this worked out, but the small ones too, that they had the wisdom to sort of work with that community. I mean, if you just look at Blacklight Retribution and how much they work with the people who play their games, and work with excuse me, I've been talking for a while here. Need some water, but I don't have any. But work with the people that play their games and post YouTube videos of it. It's sort of astounding, and it's very heartwarming. I think it's put a lot of personal contact back in the process of making games, and making most things. In fact, I think just in general, sort of this craft industry is really big. If you look at, I was reading an article about beer, and beer sales like Budweiser and stuff like that was down a whole lot during the 2007-2008 time with the recession and everything. But craft brewing, things, microbrewers like Sam Adams and Stone, were actually up, I think, 11% in that same period of time. And I think we're starting to see the same thing in video games, where these indie game studios who really interact with YouTube and live streaming are doing very, very well for themselves. And I think that's really cool to be a part of that, for me, to be able to connect with that community and connect with you guys. So I just want to close by saying thank you and apologizing for going over the gameplay. I timed it almost perfectly, but I'm a dipshit, and now I'm just digging a bigger hole. So I'm gonna go, but thanks again, guys. I really appreciate the fact that you watch my videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until next time, take it easy.